Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, college coaches and fans of the Spotlight Podcast. I am Anthony Williams. I'm the founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. We are a new startup company based here in Austin, Texas. We are focused on creating a technology platform that will successfully help student athletes transition from high school to college and then into a career in their sport professionally or into a job once their career is over with. We've got a very special guest tonight that I'll share with you in a second. But before we get to Ron, I want to thank our sponsors. We've got really good sponsors that support the platform that we have been given, and we're trying to help student athletes out. So first up bat, my friends over at Go Edit Graphics. They are a new graphics company based out of Nebraska. They do a great job of supplying athletes, high school athletic departments, college athletic departments, with outbound messaging with these really dazzling graphics to do player showcases, team schedules, or any outbound communication. So shout out to my guys at Go Edit Graphics. My other sponsor, Epic. Epic stands for Every Play I Compete. They're a new and exciting sports apparel company based out of Houston, Texas. Good friend of mine, Stefan Johnson, runs it. If you're looking for football uniforms, 7-on-7 uniforms, masks, gloves. I mean, they've got it all, and they have really hot designs that you want to look into. So you can check them out. Their Twitter page is I am Epic 24/7, and check them out for that. And then lastly, Buffalo Wild Wings, a good friend of mine who is as passionate about helping student athletes out as Ron and I are. They have put together a program to support me to get the message out there and hopefully allow these student athletes to successfully transition. So thank you to my sponsors, but let's get to my boy tonight. Ron Sigler and I have known each other for probably going on 10 years now. We've been doing a lot of camps and been part of the National Combine down in San Antonio, the All-American game owned by NBC now, once was the Army All-American game. We have started as friends, and we've kind of become like family. I mean, we really vibe off of each other and sharing information that we hope will help that next generation of all student athletes, not just football. So Ron Sigler, he's a director of recruiting at NCSA. He's a former football player, coach. You'll hear more about his background. But Ron, how you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing awesome. I'm so excited to be a part of this program that you guys are building, man. It's an awesome concept. It's going to change lives, and that's what it's all about, man. Trying to mold and help each young athlete or each young man or even man that we can help, move on to a better life. So, man, I'm honored. Thanks for having me tonight.
No, well, Ron, I appreciate you coming on. And, you and I have done the recruiting thing each year down in San Antonio, and we get so many positive comments from parents and so many questions afterwards. One of the things to my audience that I love and respect Ron about is that he keeps it real like I do. We're not trying to tell people what they want to hear. We tell people what they need to hear to hopefully help have a proactive approach to either their son's recruiting or handling their son as they go through their sports journey. So Ron, let's just jump right in here. I mean, I can go through your background, but first let's start with yours. Kind of tell the audience a little bit about your playing background, who you are as a man, your coaching background, and tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
So my name is Ron Sigler. As Anthony said, I'm the director of regional recruiting at NCSA. Ex-Division I coach, over 20-something years of actual coaching experience. Played Division I ball at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. Actually coached at that university as well. From Mobile, Alabama. So a guy that kind of grew up just like a lot of you guys did, single parent home, and just kind of had to work hard. And football actually changed my life in a lot of different ways. I have a couple different stories. Was one of those guys that actually had an opportunity to be highly recruited. Went through some crazy stuff in high school like a lot of you guys do, and it didn't work out the way it was supposed to. I was one of the top prospects in the country at the time, and for one reason or another, you could say the coach or whatever, just like a lot of you guys say, but it didn't work out. But it still worked out because I continued to work, and I knew that was for me. So I still was able to make it and actually play Division I. And from there, and that's why this is so near and dear to me, this program that Anthony's putting together here, was actually a pretty good collegiate player as well, but didn't take academics as serious as I should have. and actually was on 7 or 8 draft boards and was ineligible my senior year. So that was just snatched away from me, not from anybody else's fault, but just Ron Sigler not taking school as serious as he should have. So I was ineligible my senior year, but thank God I played for a great head coach. He allowed me to stay on, and I never made below a B again. How about that?
Yeah.
So got my degree and was able to transition, which is, again, this exact program that we're going to share with you guys tonight, from being an athlete that played on a high level, that had an opportunity to do a lot of great things, to now being a professional man. So coached Division I ball because of it. And now I am the director of regional recruiting for one of the largest entities in the country that does recruiting. So again, Anthony, man, thank you for this opportunity. And I can't wait to share with your athletes and your parents here today.
Nah, great foundation. Everybody knowing Ron's background, he's somebody that I truly respect because of him sharing that experience, because that is an experience that we can all relate to. Everybody's not always eligible, and sometimes things happen in life. The best teacher of life lessons is life itself, and that's what we try and communicate here on the Spotlight podcast. Ron, let's talk a little bit about you mentioned your journey a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about thinking that you were going to play pro ball and then it not happening. And obviously some disappointment, just like when I got cut from the Niners back in the day. I'm highly disappointed, but now then you pick yourself up and you said, okay, hey, that's over. What am I going to do now? Talk to us about your transition as a student athlete, as a coach, and as a man.
So, man, again, this is so awesome because, man, this is such a needed topic and subject that we're discussing. All my life, it was football. That's what it was going to be. That's how I thought I was going to change the life of my family, my mother, and yes, I had an opportunity, and I was actually a pretty good athlete, but and it's crazy. It came down to one class, and I want to be very specific because I hear it all the time. That teacher flunked me. He didn't help me out. But when it boils down to it, all I really had to do was just the bare minimum, and I get a C in the course. It was a philosophy course. I remember it just like it was yesterday. I'll never forget it. Made a D, and all I needed was a C. And no, it wasn't that he or she flunked me. It was me. I did it to myself. But I fought through it. I did graduate from school, started out being a student assistant, but just like a lot of you guys, I fought it. I hate football. I can't stand it anymore. I just don't want to do it. But it just kept pulling me back in. And the adversity, the things that I learned from being an athlete, from playing football, to get knocked down and get back up, it began to transition into my everyday life, my everyday walk. So I wasn't defeated. At first, I was pretty torn, just being totally honest. I can't stand football, don't want to be around it. The coaches kept pulling me back in, as coaches will do. Hey, man, you're going to be a student assistant. Come be a graduate assistant. So I got my degree in psychology, actually started getting my master's in to be a licensed therapist as well. Began as a family counselor, man. So I went the psychology route. Thought that was it. Hey, man, I'm not going to do football. I'm just going to use what I've been through to help change lives. And one of my buddies actually pulled me back in. He's like, hey, man, we need a running back coach at this high school. Man, I hate football. I don't want to do it. Man, come on, just come on and watch practice one day. And if you don't like it, just leave. And the rest is history. So I go over there, I watch practice. Man, look, let me help those kids do this, do that. Next thing I know, Anthony, I'm teaching at the school. I'm the offensive coordinator, the head track coach, the head boys basketball coach. And then from there, man, again, just blessed from being knocked down and those things that I learned, the adversity that you get in football, it's never over. You're always going to keep fighting. You get knocked down, you get right back up, and to all zeros on the clock, we're going to keep fighting. So that's what I did. And thanks to that hard work and determination that I built, from playing football and no, it didn't turn out the way that I thought. I thought I was going to be an NFL player and make millions doing that and so on and so forth. But I was blessed to be able to use football to still help me end up being the professional that I am today. So from there on to have it doing very well as a high school coach, to being pulled up to Tennessee Tech. I coached there. We actually won the championship in 3 years after that. Left Tennessee Tech, came to UAB, coached receivers there, did an amazing job there as well. And then from there to NCSA as the director of regional recruiting for them, where I'm the national speaker. I've done as with Anthony, and I'm going to tell you, I've been on every platform with the NFL. I'm at the Pro Bowl, the Super Bowl camps. I run a lot of those, but I'm going to tell you, Anthony and I at that All-American Combine, the All-American game, when we bounce ideas off of each other and give the parents what they really need in those kids and to see the way that it changed lives. And it's no, I'm not a preacher, no, I'm not a pastor, but I kind of like that same terminology of if we could just save one, you know, and Anthony, he kind of, it's kind of like it's the same mind. And that's literally what it was like. So that's how we got to where we are right now. Blessed through football to be able to touch so many lives and young men that are going to college now that would have never maybe even gone to college just because of the knowledge that we've shared with them. And that's kind of the blessing for me as far as football, going into being a professional. No, not a professional athlete, but I am a professional man in the workforce and doing very well right now.
Well, a couple of things, and it's a great testimony, Ron. One of the things you mentioned, you and I talk about a lot. We hear about these student athletes talking about on Twitter and Instagram, oh, they sleeping on me. And I think you bring up a good example that, it's easy to point the finger at somebody else, but as my father used to say, when you point the finger at somebody else, the other three fingers are pointing back at you. I think student athletes need to understand that nobody really wants to see you fail. I'm sure there's a couple of, 1% coaches that have something against you. But most people, if you're a positive person and good to be around, people want you to be successful. And so I think student athletes need to be careful about pointing out who hurt them or who is sleeping on them when you are sleeping on yourself. Knowing you had to get a B and you got a C, that is completely on you. And you can't expect in life for people to say, hey, I know you needed a B. Hey, let me throw you a bone. If you start your life that way, you will continue to keep looking for that bone from somebody else instead of just grinding every day, which is why you and I love the game of football so much. The other thing that I think that you mentioned, which is very important, is the fact that as men of faith, I'll just say it this way: the Lord has a path for us. And I'm like you, my testimony similar to yours. When I got cut in football, I was like, I'm over with it. I'm done. I put all my love and sweat and blood and tears into it, and it just kicked me to the curb. And I was like, I'm done with it. But eventually it drew me back. And I would have, if you had told me back when I was 24, 25, when I got cut, that I would be doing what we're doing now, I would have said, no, you're crazy. I want to go work in high tech and be an engineer and a VP one day and run my own company and make a lot of money. And the Lord said, yeah, you're going to do that, but you're going to do this on the side. And so I know that's something you and I we kind of mind, and that, you're helping kids through your great speeches at NCSA and we're doing it together at the FBU camps and things like that. But just talk to these student athletes that are listening right now about the importance of, hey, shoot for the stars. Plan A, go. If you want to play D1 or play pro in your sport or whatever, that's great. But also have a plan B so that in case it doesn't happen, you're not stuck out going, well, what do I do now? You can fall back to a plan B and still continue to be successful in life. Ron, give us a little bit about your commentary on that.
So absolutely. So first of all, the goal is, yes, I want to play sports in college. Yeah, I would love to play sports in college. But really and truthfully, it's most importantly about finishing those 4 years with a degree and a zero balance.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get that degree, and that's what helps you connect the dots and get to that next part in life. And even if you're blessed to be a collegiate athlete and even blessed to make it to the NFL. So first of all, 1% play Division I ball, all right? 1% of 1% actually make it to the NFL. Now, here's the thing. So let's just say you're that guy, you're that blessed athlete for whatever sport, and you make it to be a professional. The average lifespan of that professional athlete is just 2.5 years. So when that is over, guys and girls, you got to get a job. Mm-hmm. So what better way, what helps you do that better than getting that degree? So really and truthfully, that's really what it's all about, getting what you're supposed to get out of the situation. Because I've been a Division I coach, and I don't care if your ankle hurts, and Anthony, you can attest to this as well. You're playing on Saturday. That's right. I don't care how bad your ankle hurts through the week, or your ribs hurt, or that if that finger's broken, take that thing up, put a glove on it, but you're playing Saturday.
You gotta win. You gotta
win. Yeah. So for you guys, your win is getting your degree. Get what you're supposed to, shake the hands you're supposed to shake, meet the people you're supposed to meet, make those relationships throughout that process of playing that sport, being an athlete. But most importantly, get that degree. Be able to set yourself up for that next step after athletics. And it's a whole list. I mean, yes, the degree is a part of it, but those people that you meet, the hands that you shake on the way. Anthony and I met just in the professional scene. And now I got another family member. He's a brother to me from this point on. So my point is meet those people, shake those hands, and that's how you connect the dots to get to that next step.
Ron, great point. But you and I have also talked about it, these events. College is not for everybody, and everybody's not going to graduate. We were blessed. You got yours, I got mine. But let's talk a little bit about those kids who are like, Coach, I just can't pay attention in class, or I just can't focus in. For those that don't get the degree, there's still a lot of great trades that you can learn. There's a lot of people I know, probably friends you know, that have a successful HVAC business, or they're a mechanic, or they're doing plumbing. Talk a little bit about how in your walk, how you help kids who say, Coach, I'm not graduating from UAB, but I would love to run my own, HVAC business or whatever, something that has to do with a specific trade.
So that's everyday life. And then goes back to, again, you playing that sport, getting knocked down and getting back up. But that thing that I just mentioned, I did say get your degree, but most importantly, meeting the people that you're supposed to meet and shaking the hands that you're supposed to shake. One of my best friends from college from back in the days, amazing football player, didn't graduate, but now this guy is over a multi-million-dollar company. So what my point is, if it's for you, it's for you, but you just got to work. Just continue that process. Everybody doesn't graduate from school, but no, that doesn't mean that you won't be successful. Yes, it does help. It does a lot for you. But again, man, there are apprentice programs. You work your way up through another one of my good friends from college, same deal. Didn't graduate, went to a moving company, Armstrong relocation, and now he's over, I can't tell you how many hubs in how many states. So again, that work ethic that you get from playing that sport, remember, you want to be able to connect the dots when it's all said and done. So always have a plan. The same way you can't go to the game without practicing every day and without working out through the summer. So when it's all said and done, I have a plan for life after football. So or basketball, whatever the sport may be, but be thinking about that now. I need to shake some more hands and meet some more people, and I'm preparing myself to be a professional in some way or another when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I totally agree, Ron. That's a great point. Let's talk a little bit to these parents right now. Like I said before, you and I have talked in front of probably almost 1,000 parents over the years down in San Antonio. A lot of them are very thankful for the message, but let's talk to them about their role. One of the things that you've heard me say, and you and I always bounce around and talk about at these events, is parents play a big role, not just from a recruiting and support and getting your kids cleats and take them to camp and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes parents do a reverse action on their kid as far as, ooh, baby, go buy me a house when he gets to the league, or he gonna get me a car, go get me a Range Rover. And I always say, and you've heard me say this before, that sometimes the parents and the family are the biggest hurdle to that athlete having a successful transition. When it all goes south, when they don't make it to D1 or to LSU, or they don't play pro ball. And now the family pressure of all the years about my baby this, my baby that, and he was all district and played the All-American game, doesn't happen, about the disappointment. Talk a little bit about how these parents need to adjust their vocabulary, their discussions with their kids about, baby, you play your sport, that's great, but if you don't play your sport, you're still going to be successful, and I'm going to support you whether you play shortstop for the Yankees, quarterback for the Patriots, or basketball with LeBron James.
Right. So I think it first begins with realistic expectations. Realistic expectations. I'm happy with you, and I'm going to love that son or that daughter no matter who you are and what you do. Like, I just want to see you be successful in life and have fun doing what you do. Let's attack it in that manner, first of all. And it starts with a lot of those parents saying, hey, he's going to go to this school, he's going to go to that school. First of all, let's make sure that they're having fun doing what they're doing, and that they just get the things they're supposed to get on the front end. I can't tell you how many guys that I know that made it to be an NFL athlete and made a lot of money, but lost it all buying houses and cars and jewelry for family and friends. And then when it was all said and done, the money's gone, and now they're left, and he has nothing, not even a job or a house to live in himself. Yeah. So again, let's make sure that we have that young man's best interest in mind, not my best interest in mind. I'm going to be there. I'll be there regardless. I just want to make sure my son is okay mentally, because that was a big deal that you said, man. There's so much pressure on these guys to be successful that it actually hurts them in being successful. They can't be the man that he could be or the athlete that he could be because of the pressure. Don't even want to come back home. Something didn't work out, didn't take a job, didn't work out. it didn't work out with this opportunity or that opportunity because it wasn't what they thought it was supposed to be because I have all these people depending on me. Don't put that pressure on them. Just be that support system. Same way with the college process, getting the ball rolling and getting started. Parents, you have to be a big part of that process. Just be right there and support the student athlete. Help market them. Be there for them to lean on you, and everything that's supposed to happen will happen from that point on.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. The most recent story of just disaster happening, the story of Delonte West, basketball player, starting guard for the Mavericks and many other teams, I think played in the NBA championship, was literally living under a bridge until somebody got in contact with Mark Cuban and they went and found him and got, this guy made, I think what I read, like between $75 and $100 million. Yes. And things happen in life, and the people who were all behind him and, bottle service and I got you, man, they were all gone when the money was gone. And this man was literally in his early 30s, living under a bridge until the NBA went and found him and got him some help. So players and parents, it can happen to your son. We hope that it doesn't, but let's make sure that we are having a different conversation about setting proper and realistic expectations, not just for where they're going to school or if they play pro, but helping them also with just being successful. Ron, the other thing I want to bring up is something that you and I have talked about that isn't brought up enough. We talked about this in San Antonio a few weeks ago. Mental health. You mentioned it. You've coached at UAB. You've coached at Texas Tech. I know I've been around a lot of players in my coaching days. Mental health, especially, and let's keep it real, in the Black community is taboo. Like, bro, I'm just having a bad day. We don't talk about depression. We don't talk about just all the ups and downs and all this stuff. Talk to us about the importance of these young athletes now with all this pressure, star rankings. Are you at this event? Are you at the opening? Are you at Top Gun? All this pressure, eventually it will start to wear and affect these student athletes mentally. What do you say to that?
Well, it's such a big deal that it's really ruining a lot of these kids because of all that pressure, and it wears them down to the point to where they don't even want to play the sport anymore. So that's why, again, it's so important just to be there. Don't be a crutch. Just be there and help hold that young man up. Like, help him know that regardless of whatever it is, I'm going to be here for you. And for you guys, don't be afraid to tell your mom or your dad, hey, I really don't like it when we have to do I have to go to this event? Yeah. Or I really don't want to talk to these people about that right now. Or I really don't know what school I want to go to. It's okay. Or I don't understand. Or this is really making me feel bad. It's okay to talk to mom and dad about that, or talk to your coach about that. Talk to someone, because people are, I hate to say it, people are losing a lot all the way up to their lives over not talking about how this situation is making them feel. And if it doesn't feel right, it's probably because something's really not right. So don't be afraid to talk about it. Again, I'm glad you brought that up, because mental health, especially in our community, because I'm a big, tough football player. But hey, it can hurt you the same way it can hurt anyone else. So be okay with talking about it. And parents, again, hold them up and build them up. Don't put that added extra pressure that he's already getting from he should go to this school and he should play for him, or he should buy this house or buy that car, or not. It's, again, we want him to be successful in just everyday life. That's what it's all about. Just being a good person and be successful in everyday life.
Yeah, and I think, Ron, you agree with me on this statement also. For you student athletes that are making that transition to college, there are plenty of on-campus services that are there, but you still have to get to seek them out. There's mental health professionals, there's all type of academic services. But if you're sitting in your dorm room talking about, nah, I'm good, I'll get through it. Or if your girlfriend or your mom, your dad, or big mama is calling you like, baby, you okay? No, I'm good. It's probably one of the most misused terms in our culture. Oh no, I'm good, Ron, no, I'm good. And then you're going crazy and you're having a mental break, and dependent upon medicines and whatnot. So it's really an important issue that we can probably talk another half an hour on. But I want to kind of finish up with our last topic here, Ron, which is basically, looking at, I tell you all the time, I did some research here. The NCAA is a very lucrative business. I looked it up on their website. They made $19 billion in 2019. When you take in all the sports and all the media contracts and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that athletes should be paid, but they're making a lot of money here. The one thing they are starting to open up, as you know, is the NIL, name, image, likeness. Talk to these parents and athletes about the importance of when this new policy comes into place, how they can maximize it once again, because you and I always talk about, no matter what happens, that school is going to get their money's worth out of you, whether you're a starter, All-American, drafted #1, or you are holding a dummy and you're a practice kid on the scout team. They're going to get theirs out of you. Talk to these kids about how they can maximize this new NIL policy. Where do they go pro and just having a successful college career?
So to me, the most important thing that you guys could take from what Anthony just said is they made, was it 19 billion?
19 billion.
So you need to carry yourself from this point on as if you are a multi-billion-dollar business. All right. So you are your brand. All right. So you want to post that way on the internet. You want to work out that way academically. You want to test that way. You want to carry yourself in that manner. And if that happens in your neighborhood, when the NCAA passes this rule, what car dealership wouldn't want my son Riley Sigler to drive their Tahoe? Because he carries himself like he's a multi-billion-dollar business. I want that young man, the starting running back or point guard for XYZ university, to drive my Tahoe on campus. Or I want him to live in our loft. He has a free loft because he carries himself like a multi-billion-dollar business. So guys, it's gonna happen at some point. We're right here. It's about to happen. But you need to be prepared. The same way we're talking about preparing yourself for the future after sports, preparing yourself for when this happens. Set yourself up to be great. Set yourself up for greatness. So carry yourself in that manner and be open to all the ideas. That billboard that you pass by on the freeway, why shouldn't your name be on that billboard and you standing next to a brand new Ford Expedition? Why wouldn't they? Well, the only thing would be something that you did that hurt your name or hurt your likeness from being able to be used. So if I could give you any advice on that, prepare yourself by carrying yourself as if you are a multi-billion-dollar business. You are your brand.
Great, Ron. Great stuff. Well, I know we can probably go on for another hour, but I'm going to save that rest of our conversation for another time. I'll bring you back on the podcast. You have been gold, top shelf. You're one of the people I most respect in this industry because you keep it real. And I think there's just, the market right now has a lot of people who are in it for themselves, and they're in it for telling people and players and parents what they want to hear instead of what they need to hear. So I love it that you and I kind of live the whole real real talk each and every day, and not looking to get paid for it. So thank you for your time, Ron. Let's hook up again. I know I'll see you soon at the camp. I appreciate your time tonight, man.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you, and so honored to be a part of this program and looking forward to the next time.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Have a good evening.
You as well. Have a good one.